Welcome to this session, guys. My name is Mohammed. I was supposed to be, if you look at your schedule, I was supposed to be a panelist, but the moderator not feeling well, so I will be playing a dual role today, a panelist and a moderator. I will not take advantage of it, so I will be only offering some of the ideas that I had in mind when I was supposed to be a panelist, and make them in terms of question to our guests today, who I believe we're going to have a beautiful discussion. They're all professionals in the field, and it's a very timely field. And this is how it's going to work. I'm going to ask each panelist to speak 3 to 5 minutes, and I will urge them to disagree to make the discussion lively. And then at the end, if we have time, these days, the main challenge is not to know what's going on. We don't debate facts anymore. Sometimes we believe that we need forensic analysts to see what is fake and what is not fake nowadays. And what is so, AI and deepfake become very dangerous simply because people are no longer searching for the truth. They go and try to find information that can verify what they already believe in. So we have an issue of trust, we have an issue of credibility. And I was talking to my son the other day, and he said to me, "Dad, you're a journalist, you're obsolete. ChatGPT can do your job faster in any language you want." So what is the future of journalism? I think AI can create a lot of content, but they cannot have trust nor authenticity. This is the name of the game in the future. Who owns the truth? Some of the panelists will be addressing that issue. Who owns the narrative? I would say before I ask the panelists to start speaking, what is so dangerous about AI and deepfake news is not the lies sometimes they spread. It's the chaos and the confusion they create. Some people would say to you, you can lose election because of fake news. No, it's the chaos that is dangerous, that is more dangerous than the content. You can create content as much as you want, but you cannot win credibility or create truth. So with these remarks that I reserved when I was supposed to be a panelist, I'm going now to ask Mr. Jean-Christophe to begin. And before that, this is something I learned a long time ago. I was in a panel. And I'm gonna ask you to move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And this is a very challenging task, to try to wake up everyone and even ourselves. And I will certainly do my best and maybe to come up with not just with provocative thoughts, but just a few elements to frame the debate. First, I'd like to really stress and emphasize that the organizers of the forum have been extremely straight to the point. I like very much the overarching theme of this MEDays 19, so fractures and polarization, reinventing the global equation. I think it's very adequately frame the discussion, our discussion, but also those 2 days. Usually those overarching theme of international conference are quite vague, but I think this one is extremely straight to the point, and particularly in regard of the overall context where we are. If you allow me, I will switch to French.
Just
I'd
give 1
like-
second until you're ready, Scott. Okay. Go.
Je crois que ce débat, particulièrement celui qui nous occupe cet après-midi sur AI, Deepfake et la régulation, la réglementation des réseaux sociaux et des technologies, se tient dans un contexte très particulier. Je voudrais simplement commencer par une date qui, je crois, a été un point majeur de bascule dans le monde dans lequel nous sommes, et qui est le 20 janvier. 20 janvier, on a tous en tête que c'est la prise de fonction du président Trump, à partir de laquelle, nous sommes maintenant à 11 mois, 10 ou 11 mois, où la communauté internationale, ou en tout cas ce qu'il en existait, a perdu un élément absolument majeur, qui a été l'élément majeur sous lequel le monde ou l'ordre mondial, ou le désordre mondial a fonctionné depuis 50 ans. Nous avons perdu un élément majeur, qui est celui de la confiance. Il y avait, depuis 50 ans, des divergences très profondes entre des États, entre différentes régions du monde, mais il y avait un ordre juridique, il y avait une volonté de coopération pour essayer de faire en sorte qu'il y ait un minimum de stabilité et de confiance dans les relations pour essayer d'organiser un monde de paix, de stabilité et de développement. Or, nous avons perdu cet élément-là. Un deuxième élément de contexte, c'est une autre date, qui est celle du 22 février 2022, où un des garants de ce système international, un des 5 membres du Conseil de sécurité, en l'occurrence la Russie, a brisé la règle fondamentale sur laquelle la communauté internationale fonctionnait depuis plus de 70 ans, qui était effectivement l'intégrité des frontières. Donc nous sommes dans un contexte où, je ne veux pas dire il n'y a plus rien sur lequel nous puissions nous appuyer, sur lequel nous puissions essayer de trouver des bases communes. Et la raison pour laquelle je veux citer ces deux éléments de contexte, c'est qu'ils sont fondamentaux. Entre les différentes sociétés au niveau de la planète. Et je crois que ce sont des éléments qui sont fondamentaux parce qu'ils nous obligent à penser out of the box, autrement dit. Nous ne pouvons plus imaginer le sujet qui nous occupe, autrement dit, comment effectivement réglementer et trouver un mode de fonctionnement approprié sur AI, Deepfakes, etc., si nous n'avons plus cette base de coopération et de droit international. Voilà, je voulais juste à ce stade fixer effectivement un cadre au débat avant d'entrer effectivement dans le débat lui-même sur le sujet qui nous occupe cet après-midi.
Thank you very much. I will ask Scott now to give us 3 to 5 minutes, please. I'm not going to introduce Scott and tell you what he does. If you have the program in front of you, you can read his bio. So let's take advantage of Scott being here, and you can read his bio if you're interested in knowing more about him. Scott, please.
Great. So you can tell from my accent that I am from Los Angeles. We have no fake news problem in the U.S., and we're not even sure what it is. The name of this panel is Who Owns the Truth? And we've been struggling with this. How do you explain to mom and dad whether a fake news site went up? and what a real URL is versus a fake website. Is it a real news source or is it fake news? So there's an education problem on all of these issues before we even get to deepfakes. But now we're in a new period where you're watching my country's president put out AI videos of doing horrible things to the opposition party, flying an airplane over and dumping garbage and stuff on the opposition. And that can be cute or fun or distasteful. But the real question is, who owns the truth? And it's one thing to rename something the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Who cares? It's a name, whatever. It's another thing to start figuring out who started a war, who invaded whom, who gave up their minerals. There is a universal source of truth. And going back to our moderator's first idea from a journalist's perspective and his, I can't remember, I think daughter's perspective or son's perspective of, is journalism still matter? Well, if we're just relying on AI as the universal source of truth, we have a problem. And so what I want to challenge everybody in this room to think about is the universal source of truth really is what matters in all of this. If your AI, your ChatGPT spits up just some garbage that it read on the internet, then we can change 100 websites to change who started a war. That is the problem at the root of this, is if we change 100 websites to say that my panelist here to the left started the war, and ChatGPT picks that up, that's the universal source of truth right now. And we have to understand and recognize that for what it is, and we have to educate mom and dad to go, quick tweet or a blog post. All of this stuff comes down to, is somebody spewing garbage or are they actually telling the truth? And that I wish I had better answers for. The one answer that I will have is all of us, including the US, need to do a better job of social listening and social monitoring and detecting when somebody is spewing those 100 websites of garbage, and they were all invented in the same day, and they all came from one robot somewhere, to call bullshit. And I apologize for the language, but we have to start calling this out faster and doing better in detecting complete garbage. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Before I ask Benjamin to address the audience, I have a quick question for you. You talked about the president Trump creating fake videos to troll the opposition. How different is that from negative campaigning? It's been there for like hundreds of years. It's just a new method. It's negative campaigning. It's been accepted in the U.S. In U.S. local politics for decades.
So the campaign side used to always be ugly. And Democrats and Republicans, we only have two parties in the U.S., both did stupid things during campaign side. But now governing as a head of state in campaign mode is where I have a problem, because you are now seen as a leader from a country that has 350 million people in some weird political partisan campaign that had never been done before in the U.S. We had a level of integrity and respect for our elected officials, government, our world stage that is now eroding when you're watching bullying, name-calling in campaign mode.
So what you're saying, it's not a matter of principle, it's a matter of taste and the way you do it.
And ethics and responsibility for the government side, not the marketing side.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Please, Benjamin Arunda.
Thank you. this is a very interesting conversation, because really we relate on a currency known as trust. The reason that we can even take a note in your currency and use it to go and shop in the market is because you trust that the central bank is going to keep his word. This trust is in every relationship that we have, whether it's corporate relationship, government relationships, private relationships. Now, if this trust that we so rely on in our relationship is broken, it is the beginning of broken systems in our economies, in our social lives, in our relationships. And what I do say is that when you talk about AI, I don't know if many governments realize what is coming at us, because it's scarier if you analyze it better. If it's scarier if you talk about agentic AI and multiple agentic AI and the capability that they have to even propagate the lies. So I'm going to talk about three things quickly. One is misinformation, then disinformation, and malinformation. Misinformation, in my view, AI, because of hallucinations, where AI systems and the large language models, they just hallucinate. They decode the information that the training information wrongly, and they give information that is erroneous. Yeah, I mean, if it's fed with a lot of information and it gives a response stating maybe communications. Where I think the problem is, the big problem is especially with regard to disinformation. And this, I refer to conspiracy theories. Yeah, with AI, conspiracy theories have been there, yeah, since, I can't remember when, for decades, right? But with AI, we are talking about speed now. We are talking about propagation. We are talking about how fast we can send this information to millions of people around the world. Yeah? And I mean, the world, we talk about politics, we talk about so many issues of health, we talk about social issues. There are a lot of conspiracy theories that surround all these key important issues. And if we are going to use AI as a tool to propagate all these conspiracy theories, then we don't know what's coming at us. Yeah? Then thirdly is malinformation. While conspiracy theories really are churned in large scale, and the purpose is to really push a narrative, yeah, really not targeting an individual. Now think about malinformation now coming from the word malicious information. Now, if now I use AI and create an avatar of you, any of you in this room, I take a picture, I mean, with my smartphone, I can get a small video, a 1-minute video of you saying a word, I can use it to make an avatar with your accurate facial gestures, and I can be able to use also AI to then clone your voice accurately. Then I can use this, yeah, to generate information, generate content that is malicious against you. Yeah, so it's going to be used really to perpetrate a lot of crime against individuals, and that is where the last two, disinformation and malinformation, that's why I think there's really need, if you have to think about the dangers of AI in terms of fake news. And with regard to misinformation, I mean, I can't imagine, I believe there are a lot of students in this room today. I can't imagine how much it's going to be if 90% of our assignments are done by AI, and research work that is published online, yeah, that third parties are going to rely on for maybe desk review or for subsequent secondary data, sources of secondary data for their research. Imagine what's going to happen in 5 years if we have a lot of information, medical research, we are having fake news all over. It happened recently, lastly, in Kenya that a major court, a higher court, gave a ruling, and over 50% of the case law that this judge relied on were fake cases that were generated by AI. So imagine this case is published online, and a student of law in Morocco is studying jurisprudence and relies on this case law. And then before you know it, it's on the fourth person is talking about all this case law. So this is how we are going to perpetrate. This is how we are going to really increase the amount of fake information and misinformation and reduce the quality of information online.
Thank you, Benjamin.
The question is,
Your time is up, Benjamin.
how much trust can we continue to rely on? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vedran, please. Nikolic.
I will spare you some time. I like it when it's dynamic as a former journalist as well, and your colleague.
Sure, would like to
I'm
open the
so
floor
glad
later
that
on.
Gen Z asked with I don't know how many question marks when some institutions or scientific bodies or even medias would give the information, you would think that it's true. These days, everything is information, everybody owns the information because everybody is a media. And that's the consequence of hectic situation where we have ended up with some of the guys that have been on the scene. These days we have seen them in the deepfake on the alleged Gaza Strip Riviera sunbathing, including Mr. Trump, then Mr. Musk and some of the others. But the first time that they've showed up and they have become something normal, not on the outskirts of our media scene, then there was a point from which there is no way back. So everybody owns the truth. Today, we could define that those are like tech companies, then governments, as well journalists and newsrooms that have been sort of not washed away, but crushed because they could not produce in real time so much, and they need to verify if they do a proper job, and then as well citizens. Our problem these days with the truth is that it's relativized. So if everything could be a truth and everything could be a lie, then we are in a huge problem. Who is the one who is going to contest or to verify in a real time for especially young generation that is using and taking news from TikTok, not from any books anymore, myself as well, and neither their habitat is that. And we have at the same time problem of disinformation that has ruined the trust. And if the institutions and foundations of the institutions are endangered, and institutions are the ones that are pillars and founders of any democratic society that has trust and gives to its citizens informations as well, then we are in a huge problem. So it's not just the matter who owns the truth, it's the matter of trust of the institutions and the future of the democracy. Some malign actors already have used that kind of situation, and they're doing very well. I come from European Union country where far-right parties and populists have done huge and immense political outcome and election victories on disinformations. We could start with Brexit, for instance, you know, and afterwards we know that lies have been given to the public and false informations upon which some results have been done, but who cares? So we have come to this kind of situation when truth is relativized. And just to say one more thing, and we could later, I think, dig up a bit more about political and disinformation wars in politics these days, and in wars especially. We need educated citizens for that. So media literacy, it's something which should be in some countries, especially in Europe, in Scandinavia, or even in Baltics, because they are endangered by information wars from Russia, for instance. Media literacy already, it's in curriculums of kindergartens and elementary schools. So if you're consuming, because news today are produced, distributed, and consumed in complete different way than 10 years ago, you need to have citizens that are able to recognize if something is false or not. Journalists and media could not do, even if they want 110%. Do as being on the field, on the battleground. No drone that might be sent to Gaza Strip or the first line of war in Ukraine could give that kind of story, information, and emotional intelligence into the report as human person can.
So what you're saying is AI and deep fake news are altering the role of a journalist. Now, instead of going to try to get information, what we do, we try to verify what is true and what is not. So it's
Yes, but
so
we
what
need time to verify that.
so the added value right now is credibility and authenticity. I think the danger is not in deep fake news. It becomes so dangerous when we see something real and we question it. So the definition what is so real is
That's why I've mentioned
when
relativism.
it becomes
Yeah.
it becomes an illusion. General Kemp, before I go to you, because I want to end with you, I want to go to Mustafa Zwini first, because anything will converge and talk about security. So I'm going to save you to the last. So please, Mustafa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. To all the Nesm Tanjat and Tanjawi, Tangier Merchant. So I'm very proud to be here today. Thank you. And I'm very proud to see all the youth here today. But I think there's a few points.
This is exploiting where he's from. We didn't get any applause.
We're at home, so we can. I need to wake up.
Game home advantage. Yeah.
But anyway, a few points actually. I think a few interesting points actually. I want to pick up and challenge some of the things. First of
Please.
all, quickly, yes, it's a new human challenge, and the human challenge is that we are living. An institution training for. So that's exactly what you said, right? And critical thinking is an important aspect. Empathy, communication, problem solving. All those are important for us to, to identify, create, and define that kind of reality. And we talk often not media literacy in our topic. We talk about reality literacy, right? And therefore, yes, in higher education, you can say that before we were told to look at a newspaper or news and check what the source is and so on. But I will disagree also, because again, we're in Africa, and a famous quote from Africa, if the lion could tell the story, right, the hunter will until the lion tells the story, the hunter will always be the hero, right? So we're talking about deepfake, this is not new, right? The map of Africa is a deepfake, right? A lot of the story perspective and the bias exists for a long time. So yes, and I'm going to challenge journalists. The journalists tell a different story because of his bias. You're talking about emotional has bias. Right? So you have your own perspective. So in one challenge, it's not new. What's new, to Benjamin's point, is that the scale and the speed of it. And that's actually really what makes the big, big difference today. Because today, yes, I can have fake news, but I can talk to fake people. Right? The scam have been actually faster and better. Right now, if you'll see some stories quickly around receiving a phone call from my nephew to send them some money, because actually it's literally, I thought I'm talking to that member of my family. So the speed and this is testing us really a lot, right, about how to do that. So the real challenge, I don't think is in just technology, right? Because, I think it's the psychology of it. And maybe that psychology now has that engine, the technology, to scale it and to make it much bigger. And then to finish a little bit, I think, yes, we look at it. We need to put things in perspective. We need to learn how AI works. We need to learn how, and that's why we're focusing on from a young age. And for us, we need to reprogram ourselves on how to identify the challenges. And we can talk in second part about how the solution to address that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I yield the floor to General Kempf.
Merci. Je vais aller directement en français. Je ne vais pas faire semblant de parler anglais, je pourrais, mais on va rester en français. Tiens, je les réveille aussi. Alors, le titre de notre panel, il est quand même vachement angoissant, parce que qu'est-ce qu'on est en train de dire? C'est que l'intelligence artificielle, enfin, la vague que l'on a en ce moment, elle est en train de tout casser, elle est en train de tout mentir, vous comprenez, c'est fichu. C'est un peu gênant, parce que ça voudrait dire qu'on ne contrôlerait plus rien et qu'il n'y aurait plus de libre arbitre. Et c'est finalement un peu l'inquiétude que l'on a tous. Or, moi, ça fait 15 ans que je suis dans les technologies de l'information, dans l'innovation numérique, dans le cyber, et que je regarde ces questions des médias et de la communication publique. Je rappelais des choses, on parle d'âge, vous parliez d'âge, vous avez raison. Rappelons tout d'abord que ce n'est pas que les réseaux sociaux, que ce n'est pas que TikTok, Instagram ou Twitter, qu'il y a un autre phénomène qui arrivait très tôt, il y a 25 ans, 30 ans à peu près, les chaînes d'information en continu. Ça date d'avant les réseaux sociaux, ça date d'avant le numérique. Et ça a modifié le débat public depuis 25 ans, puisque, pour dire les choses simplement, en une phrase, justement, la petite phrase a remplacé l'argument. Et donc, aujourd'hui, avec l'accélération et le raccourcissement, justement, de notre communication moderne, finalement, on ne fait que de petites phrases en petites phrases, et on n'a plus des arguments logiques, cohérents, enchâssés les uns dans les autres. Mais ça date d'il y a 25 ans. Il n'y a pas besoin de l'IA pour le constater. Cette évolution, elle a 25 ans, 30 ans. Deuxième observation, c'est évidemment accéléré par les réseaux sociaux, mais on parle de deepfakes, mais je rappelle que les fake news, ce qu'on appelle, ou les infox en bon français, apparaissent dès les années 2010. Vous avez parlé de Brexit, c'est Trump surtout qui a... je dirais, monopoliser, industrialiser cette question de la post-vérité, c'est-à-dire, finalement, la vérité, c'est ce que je raconte, c'est pas tellement ce qui est en vrai. Ce qui est important, c'est que je vous convainque avec ce que moi, je dis. Et donc, peu importe finalement le message, ce qui est important, c'est celui qui l'exprime et la façon dont il l'exprime. Et ça existe d'avant l'intelligence artificielle. Deuxième chose, et donc, l'intelligence artificielle et les deepfakes ne font qu'accélérer des phénomènes qui sont déjà présents depuis 10 ans, 15 ans. Tout ça pour dire que ces tendances, elles sont assez préalablement ancrées. Je vois que la moitié de l'assistance sont des jeunes étudiants, et je vous parle de choses qui existent d'avant votre naissance. C'est ça. Et donc, finalement, l'accélération du numérique ne fait qu'accélérer des phénomènes qui sont réellement politiques, ne nous y trompons pas. Et pourquoi c'est inquiétant? Parce que ça touche au débat public, et ça touche donc à finalement la façon dont nous faisons société, dont nous conversons ensemble, dont nous faisons démocratie. Cela étant, et c'est là où le vieux schnock que je suis va être un peu optimiste, et surtout avec nos jeunes, ça laisse pas mal de place à des adaptations. Pourquoi ? Parce que finalement, et je crois qu'un des panélistes y a fait allusion, mais qui parle ? Et nous allons nous poser la question de qui parle. Et donc on va avoir de plus en plus d'authentification des voix. C'est-à-dire que vous avez tous des comptes sur les réseaux sociaux, et la plupart d'entre vous, vous agissez sous pseudonyme. Mais plus ça va aller, moins on va accepter les pseudonymes. Et plus, pour garantir finalement l'authenticité du message, on va garantir l'authenticité du moi, donc de la personne qui l'exprime. Et là, on va quand même évacuer tout un tas de robots, de bots, de fermabots, etc., qu'on connaît dans tous les sens. Donc ça, c'est une tendance qui arrive. Est-ce qu'elle va se mettre en place par les autorités ou de façon décentralisée? Nous allons voir. Mais c'est quand même notre espace à nous, parce que ça refonde d'une certaine façon la démocratie. La démocratie, c'est de dire que chacun a une voix égale à l'autre. Et ça, finalement, cette nouvelle façon de conversation publique grâce au numérique, elle va pouvoir avoir lieu si on sort de l'anonymat. Je termine, je sens qu'il est déjà en train de regarder la montre.
Je compte les secondes.
Voilà. Sur les médias avant faisaient de l'intermédiation, c'était eux qui permettaient ces discussions publiques. Or, ils avaient une volonté d'informer. Aujourd'hui, leur nouvelle fonction va être d'authentifier une information et de revenir à l'échange d'idées, c'est-à-dire à une plateforme de débat, réellement, plutôt que la recherche du scoop, qui était une autre de leurs fonctions. Avoir l'information la première, vous lisez ça dès Jules Verne, dès Michel Strogoff, vous avez un journaliste qui veut avoir l'information avant tout le monde. Et donc, on va vers un moment où, d'une part, de la part des acteurs, c'est-à-dire vous, nous tous, d'autre part, de la part des plateformes qui vont devenir finalement des marques d'authentification, les médias vont aller chercher plus la profondeur que l'immédiateté, et ça va contrer finalement cette espèce de déluge informatique que nous avons. C'est deux façons d'aborder la masse de l'information, plutôt que d'aller sur la notion du temps, on va aller chercher dans la profondeur. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much. Before I open the floor to the audience to ask questions to any of the panelists, I urge each one of you to have one clear question. Say your name and ask the question, and say who do you want to answer the question. And before we do that, I have a quick question for Scott. I'm sure it's so difficult now to answer that question, who owns the truth?
Reuters Institute did a study. I hope my panelists on the other side can't hear me, but the study said very clearly that social media is where the world is getting their news from faster than any credible news source. That happened in the last year, right? So social media is not, the kids panel anymore. Social media is where the world is getting their news from faster than any news source. So it's not even the news sources defining what's real or what's not real. They're not the arbiters or the referees of truth anymore. It doesn't matter.
So let me interrupt you. Then who do you think should protect the audience?
So I think that everybody has a role in this. Citizens have a role in this. Governments have a role in this. The world has a role in pushing back. In the same way, when you were a little kid, everybody in the playground had a role in defending all of your classmates from a bully. Whoever is doing, and the worst of the worst operators that are doing the biggest problems of disinformation, it's the same old way when you were 5 years old as you are today. You have to call it out and shut it down to protect your community. It's no longer the editorial board of the news staff, because the news isn't happening in the news staff. The news is being broken in small social media groups and chat channels. It no longer matters whether the Associated Press, Reuters, whatever the paper of record is, says this is on behalf of the country, the official news record of, that doesn't matter anymore. What matters is believability, and did you smack down something that was completely idiotic, or did you allow that bully to just suck up and win the argument?
Great. I have a quick question for Monsieur Bott. Former President Ronald Reagan used to say, trust but verify. Is it safe to say right now, mistrust and verify?
Well, I was not really expecting this question. Trust and verify and...
Mistrust and verify. Because this is when we were talking about it, that's the dangerous, when we start questioning real things.
Well, I'd like eventually to get back to what General
Please,
said before,
please do.
and which is also a way to respond to your question, because I think, you know, we have a tendency to consider that this is a totally new world and that there was a very different situation 20 or 30 or 50 years ago. And I think fake news have always existed. If I take, and again, I think half of or two-thirds of the room were not born at that time, but if you look back to 1989 and the collapse of Romania, and I use this Romanian example in purpose, you will see why later on. When Ceausescu, the autocrat or dictator, was pushed down, you know, there was on TV a big news saying that, you know, they found graves with thousands of people who have been killed in Timișoara, which is in a remote area in Bucharest. And this has created sort of a world movement of people who were, I mean, absolutely horrendous by what happened. And it turned out in a few days that this was a fake news. But, you know, they just put the camera on a grave. The history of our democracy, you know, because this is in a way the first time ever that an election has been cancelled because of fake news or I was very intrigued by your distinction between misinformation, malinformation, and whatever. Maybe it's a mix of all, but it is still sort of puzzling for many people. Why is it that we cancel an election because it was supposed to have been, in a way, manipulated? And I think, you know, we need really to think about that very carefully, look into this, and also do our homework, because it's not a black and white picture. I think we need really to be very careful. And that's why, I mean, it is so sensitive. And in that respect, I think it's great that there are many initiatives popping up, and it's just not because I'm French, but President Macron just a few weeks ago launched a big, it was called the digital dialogues, and in order really to look at the multiple dimension of AI, fake news, and the social media. My last point, if you agree.
Yeah, please.
I think there are also signs of hope. And it's interesting to see that this is not just about big state and big tech. There are also multiple actors now that are, in a way, proactively try to jump in and to play a role in this discussion. And very few people have heard about the Pope Maybe not. You know, we know that the Pope is American and that the Pope maybe has an influence also.
He's not part of the tech bro. No, he's not. No, to follow up on what you are saying, I wonder sometimes, why do companies, reputable companies, AI could be used like any invention in history for good and bad. Why would they create deepfake? And going back to the dialogue initiatives you're talking about, those are great initiatives, but they're slow and they're not fast enough because companies care about profitability. So by the time we get recommendations how to deal with the issues, we will be so behind. So what is the best way to deal with that? And if you leave it to the private sector, unfortunately, the big companies only care about making money. But again, as I said, AI is a great thing. I talked to some of my medical doctors. It's doing great stuff for humanity. But why would those companies, the same companies, Google, I don't know, Amazon or whatever, Apple, why are they investing in those apps to create deepfake? And I want to go to you, Benjamin. Do you mind, please, Redekan, before you talked about misinformation. Are we in the verge of an information collapse? Who benefits from this chaos? The loudest? Why do people go for this chaos? We are in the age of, as I said earlier, not in the age of information, we are in the age of confirmation. So who benefits, in your views, from this misinformation chaos that the world is facing nowadays? But please make it quick because Redekan has an intervention, and then I want to open the floor, please.
All right, thank you. In my view, who benefits? I think the big tech are on either side of this. I'll give you an example. Today, all of us use ChatGPT, from OpenAI. Who is at the helm of OpenAI is Sam Altman, right? I guess many of you perhaps do not know that OpenAI, Sam Altman is also at the helm of a company known as Tools for Humanity. Tools for Humanity is the company behind a solution known as World. It used to be called WorldCoin. So World, what they say is that they are bringing a solution for true humanity. So what they say is that a time will come with the AI that it will be difficult to know what is a real human. Is this a human or is this figure one humanoid? Which means misinformation will lead to a theft of identity. And then Sam Altman and the big tech, they also bring up the solution for that. So whether it comes to detecting deepfake, detecting misinformation, the big tech are also making the right tools with regard to. So as has been said before in the media, everything is news, good or bad, and big tech know how to mint money out of this. So I call upon us to really look into what WorldCoin is doing in terms of getting your ID from the iris, by scanning your iris, so that we have the real human, so that when there is an avatar or a humanoid, the exact shape of me, then the best way to know whether it's me or not is to check if my ID is on WorldCoin.
Thank you. Redekan, please, you have a comment. Please, go ahead.
It's not actually him here right now.
Scott, yes, Scott. Do you have something to say, Scott?
Oh, I just said it's not actually him. It's just his avatar here.
Oh.
You pose the question, who is going to protect then people, knowing that techs do not have need to do that if they are not obliged to with big fines, I do not expect from them. Then we have citizens and media, we explain their role, they need to be educated, media needs to do as much as they can, so we are left with governments or institutions. Although it
But they are slow.
It might sound not so popular, but still the governments are the only ones in this moment that are trying to do something. In the European Union, EU has started the first ever law models. One, it's state one. I don't know if I would assume that that in October this year, China has forbidden people without some kind of certificate or degree to share on Instagram anything.
But I'm sorry,
regarding-
Raka, you know that these kind of things, it's been tried before with the internet, and it never worked.
Yeah, okay.
Because the private
Just-
sector is faster than the way government
I'm
and
just
regulations
putting on
and...
the table the models. So law, business, you know, health, which could be in the case of COVID in previous years, not just in China, but somewhere else applied. On the other side, not just governments, would that be democratic, undemocratic, authoritarian, but you have grassroots peoples being engaged in Baltics, for instance, that I've mentioned already because of current geopolitical situation and information war that has been imposed by Russian trolls. You have groups of people that are without names or under their false names or just being called elves on social media that are doing for free their civic duty to overturn lies or false informations or disinformations that are being done by Russian trolls. So you have institutional tries and as well some grassroots tries. But nobody is going to protect citizens against disinformation and false news and deepfake except themselves.
Great, thank you very much. Mustafa, you have a quick comment, please, before I open the floor.
Yeah, just a quick comment. So we talked about verification of the truth or mistruth or else, but the point is, if the government, and we cannot rely on the government and regulation because of that, we can rely on the corporate Twitters and X and so on of this world, right? So, because they're all biased, so where can we rely on? The US for OpenAI OS to give us open source platforms.
Thank you very much. Now, let's start. I apologize. We promised the younger audience first. Who's, please, over there, the lady. I'll come back to you. Please say your name and the quick question. No, she goes first, please, and then if you have a question, it goes back to you. Your name and who do you want to address your question?
Of course. Well, my name is Aya. Before I ask my question, I would like to state a simple detail as I myself am a member of the Gen Z and I'm a citizen of this world, and I can assure you that I myself am afraid of AI, which brings me to my question, which is how can we expect, to which extent is AI going? How can we actually forecast where the future of AI is?
Who do you want to answer your question? Otherwise, I pick.
Okay, you can pick. Thank you.
Jean-Christophe.
The question is, how can we forecast how the AI will evolve and will be limited? I think it's interesting because, again, we need to look back first, because before looking ahead. You know, there was a first revolution, or first technological revolution, which was in the early 90s, which is not long ago, but which seems to be long ago in our criteria today, which was the internet revolution. You are too young to know about that, but for many of us, you know, we have been, in a way, witnessing, and the internet was sort of a radical revolution. And we had exactly absolutely inconceivable just 25 years ago. 25 or 30 years ago, online shopping was not existing. And so there were endless discussion about how are we going to be regulating, how can we trust, you know, if we give our credit card and so on and so forth. The reason why I'm saying that is that we need, in a way, to calm down our anxiety it is true that we are confronted to a serious issue about, you know, the deepfake and manipulation of information. But on the other hand, I trust that we are, in a way, all together, individuals, communities, countries, corporate. I mean, it's everyone's interest, except for a small margin of the population or actors, that, you know, we create a system that works for all. Maybe I'm very naive and very candid, but I believe that, in a way, it will take time. And, you know, you are absolutely right, Mr. Chair, that there is a dilemma between technological innovation, which doesn't work at the same speed, with social environment and the capacity to regulate. So we are, in a way, lagging behind. But still, I believe that it will take some time, but we will certainly be able to, in a way, to find a proper solution. It will not be easy, but I'm quite optimistic about the capacity that to absorb this tremendous technological breakthrough in a proper way.
Before you go ahead, please, you have a quick comment here.
Un petit rappel sur
Do you mind? I
l'histoire.
I'm gonna come back to you.
L'intelligence artificielle est une discipline qui a été inventée en 1956 et qui progresse par marche d'escalier, si vous voulez. Il y a 10 ans, c'était déjà un buzzword. On disait AI, AI, et on était sur le machine learning. Aujourd'hui, on est sur les LLM, l'IA générative. On commence à voir arriver, enfin, beaucoup se développer l'IA agentique, l'IA multi-agentique, tu y as fait allusion. Et ça va continuer avec des espaces que l'on voit, par exemple sur la robotique, etc., etc. Cela étant, il y a un grand fantasme qui est peut-être le sous-jacent de votre question. Est-ce qu'on va sur une IA générale? Ça, c'est le fantasme de la Silicon Valley. À mon avis, on a encore beaucoup de marge. Pourquoi? Parce que l'être humain demeure encore un être d'intelligence et d'émotion. Et pour dire des choses assez simples, j'ai déjà du mal à comprendre ma femme. Et j'imagine que vous, mademoiselle, vous avez du mal à comprendre votre petite amie. Parce qu'on a tous un peu cette expérience-là. Donc déjà, un pour un, on a du mal. Alors vous imaginez, 8 milliards de personnes, on a un peu de temps avant que la matrice prenne contrôle de nous.
Merci. Mustafa, quickly, please.
Look, I mean, I'm disagreeing a little bit with these past two comments, because actually, if you're going to look back at what you've done in first industrial revolution or second one, then I think you're not ready for the next one. What you need to do is really get your, an exponential mindset, because like I said at the beginning, it's not one revolution that we're having, it's 25 Gutenberg moments. It's not just AI, by the way, right? There's drone, there's bioinformatics, there's a lot of things together. So in order for you to assess the future, you need to look differently at this data and how you're looking at it.
Great.
And like I said, make it more exponential in your mindset, because you're dealing with a lot more data than looking at what happened in the first or second.
Great, thanks. We have a question here. Please, go ahead. Your name and the question.
My name is Ali, and I am a second-year interpretation student here at Tangier. I would like to present my question to Mr. Gustin for an example that you have stated before.
Speak to the mic, please.
So my question is to you, Mr. Gustin, since you have mentioned an example of President Trump using some generative AI in order to maybe perform some harmless but maybe distasteful generative content. I'm wondering if there are any safeguards that we can expect in the future, something similar to a watermark that can at least prove to us that this content is created by AI or it was actually put into life or that. Or
go back to my earlier intervention that we have to demand more as community. I don't think, contrary to some of my panelists' viewpoint, that government is an answer to any of this. I think citizens demanding more is an answer. And what is the quickest way to figure out what we should and shouldn't do is that everyone in this room needs to not only use the tools that are out there, but know exactly what the tools are capable of, because some of the solutions are actually in this room. So like, the more people that are adopting this and not scared by it, I represent a lot of clients that are like, we'll never talk about AI, or screenwriters that say we can't use AI. Like, we're not putting AI back in a box. So we have to use it and then demand better from it. So could they watermark it? Could more people recognize it? Yes, but that's not going to mean that it's going away. So let's recognize that it's here, this is the new world order, and make sure that everybody is using it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, I'm sorry, wait a second. You have a quick comment you said,
Yeah, just a
Rebecca,
quick
please.
comment. I don't know for Mr. Trump, but I know in Europe, Denmark has done that this summer. They have amended their copyright law, so without your consent, your body, face, or sound of your voice could not be used in deepfakes. Otherwise, you are going to be legally persecuted.
Thank you very much, please. Yeah, yes,
One last thing on this is, because this is important for medical health, the community has demanded better when AI forced people into doing self-harm. So AI can actually get better when the community forces people to say, look, we do not think that AI telling young mentally health challenged kids to kill themselves is what we want as a society. Right? We can force AI, but again, that's why I say you have to be using it to be aware of what the problems are.
Thank you, Scott. Please, the gentleman right here, please, go ahead.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Dr Abdelhafid Oualalo, vice-président de l'Institut marocain des relations internationales et politologue. Je voudrais, avec tout le respect que j'ai pour nos invités, on peut se demander combien de fake news vous avez aussi divulgué et publié dans cette salle. Donc on a le droit de se poser des questions même devant les
alors, on attend la question.
Alors la question. Une date historique. L'intervention des États-Unis en Irak 2003. C'est un petit flacon qui était porté par Colin Powell à l'époque aux Nations Unies pour montrer que dans son petit flacon, il y a des produits chimiques. Une époque où tout le monde a souffert, à commencer par les professionnels de santé. Deuxième petite question, c'est la diffamation. Quand vous avez des informations qui circulent pour diffamation, pour toucher à la vie personnelle, la vie familiale, ça détruit pas mal de familles, et pas uniquement dans les campagnes électorales, mais c'est partout, dans tout le monde, nous avons des problèmes au niveau de cette diffamation. Est-ce que ça ressort du pénal ou bien des sanctions comme on en parle en Chine ou ailleurs? Donc voilà, ce sont des petites questions que je me pose avec le respect pour mes invités.
Merci. Who wants to address conspiracy theories? Scott, you like that, didn't you? It fits your progressive liberal agenda.
Sure, fine. Look, there's always going to be. What I think Mustafa said is important, that the scale is much faster. And also the scale of citizen involvement in pushing back would have been much faster. So when you have a complete theory about junk science, being able to be citizens engaged to push back about the junk science is important. The penal and legal is retroactive, but also that's saying what society will tolerate and what society will not tolerate. So if Sam Altman gets sued into the oblivion for doing something horrific, then he might make his technology better.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Please, the lady here. Please, I urge you to make your answers quick because I have a lot of people who wants to ask, and I.
Confidence are the reasons why we are all in this room. Because if we knew we would be in danger, none of us would be in this room, and none of you would be sitting on these seats. So this topic of trust and confidence are too important to be thrown through the windows, and I wish we had more time to speak about it. Et il y a une chose que je voudrais dire, c'est que moi j'ai été en politique. et je suis dans le monde corporate. Les politiques sont eux-mêmes en train d'utiliser ces outils pour leur propre propagande et les plateformes sont eux-mêmes en train d'utiliser ces produits pour vendre plus et toujours davantage. Si on ne peut pas croire dans les politiques pour protéger la société, si on ne peut pas croire dans les plateformes pour faire le nécessaire, comment est-ce qu'on peut espérer que des jeunes qui sont les premiers à subir les affres de la désinformation, les femmes, les hommes, les populations les plus vulnérables, comment on peut penser que la société civile peut, elle, prendre la responsabilité de réguler, de faire les lois et de protéger l'humanité?
Thank you very much.
C'est une question pour vous tous.
Thank you very much. Before you, please, I'm going to take as many questions as I can, and then we try to summarize them. And I want to compensate based on your comment, and I want to go straight to the lady right here. Maybe I can compensate to the noted comment that you made, rightly so. Please, the lady right here. The mic is coming.
Good evening, everyone. Everyone, I'm sorry.
Please.
I would like to tell you about Mr. Boss is very. I like your way that you are very optimistic about future of AI. My question is.
I'm the owner of H.E.Mr Morocco. I'm doing like everything with AI. I'm using AI. I'm 100% AI. I would like just to tell you like to answer like the first question that we received. Now, the United States is already like sharing that any picture shared on Google Gemini, we are not making like advertising. We are just saying that Gemini, when you receive any picture of it, there is like a transparent watermark. So everyone can now know that the picture is generated by AI. So nobody gonna be like scared, or they are saying like they will take place, but the AI will only create new jobs, new creative persons, and that's it. It was only the answer for the person. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Can you speak louder? Like, go ahead, quickly, because I promise you, quickly. Thank you very much. Let's have our final thoughts, please. 30 seconds each panelist, and if you like to address any of their questions, please go ahead. This is the time to do that. Let's go, start right here.
Oui, mon inquiétude, elle n'est pas dans la capacité ou non que nous aurons de réglementer ou d'encadrer en temps et en heure. Ma préoccupation, elle est beaucoup plus aujourd'hui sur le fait qu'il y a une tendance très importante, et on le voit notamment de toutes les instances qui régulent la Cour pénale internationale, l'Union européenne, qui sont en train d'être placées aujourd'hui sous sanction.
This is not new. The concept of influencers, or people who've had influence, celebrities or soccer players giving out their speeches is the same as we're talking at a think tank type panel where people are writing hundreds of pages that may have some part truth, may be mistruth, all over the place, and are self-proclaimed experts. We have had a problem worldwide of self-proclaimed experts on one subject that then sit on panels like this and pontificate about stuff that they know nothing about. That's happening right now in an influencer culture worldwide, that somebody is very famous because they were a soccer mom and they got 1 million followers, and now they're also a political expert, or now they're being paid money by somebody else. So We have to do better to think about why is this person an expert? And look, this is, again, not new. I'll pick on my colleagues here who write hundreds of pages of white papers, but have yet never visited parts of Africa when they're talking about it.
Thank
This
you.
is not new.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Please, Benjamin.
My parting shot would be that with fake news and with AI, third-party verifiers is going to be a big thing, because we're going to have to rely on certain institutions. We're going to have to rely on either public or private institutions. So it's either we decide to interact better online, or we're going to have to go back to more reliance on third parties.
Thank you.
Because I'm in blockchain sector.
Thank you, Benjamin.
And that is really key.
Final thought.
Yes, some of the techs already have given up of fact checking, so there's no way back. I think
True.
it's going to be a huge challenge. Together with climate change, this is the utmost challenge of this generation of politicians and citizens.
Thank you.
And this has become issue as a nuclear weapon. And states that do not understand what AI is going to be divided in first-class states and second-class states that will just vanish.
Thank you. General?
Je vais être le plus libéral du panel.
Question it, and the 3 words really: education, education, education. If we're in the South-South type conference, really, right now, we need to be able to own that AI and learn about how to use it in our own ways.
Thank you. Thank you. AI can create a lot of content, but only humans can preserve trust and authenticity and credibility. Thank you for joining us. It's been a lively. Please join me in welcoming our panelists, and thank you for your patience.